Aje tena wadau, let's Teqcher flight tena hapa. Nimetokea tena na kahesabu. Manze, na leo tunaangalia bodies moving toward the same direction and a relative speed. Kumbuka in the previous episode tulifanya bodies moving in opposite directions and a relative speed. So today we want to look at bodies that are moving toward the same direction. Ukijiuliza nasema nini manzi, nataka tuangalie example ambayo leo inatokea kwenye KCSE 2006 paper 1 question 20. Na inasema a bus left Mombasa and traveled towards Nairobi at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. After 2.5 hours, a car left Mombasa and traveled along the same road at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour. If the distance between Mombasa and Nairobi is 500 kilometers, determine Roman 1, the distance of the bus from Nairobi when the car took off. Alafu Roman 2, the distance the car traveled to catch up with the bus. So nikiongea kwa Kiswahili manze, kujaribu kusimplify hii maneno ambayo ndo kazi yangu. Unaambiwa a bus, hapa kuna vitu mbili, kuna bus na kuna car. So bus imetoka Mombasa ikaja ikienda Nairobi. At the same time unaambiwa after 2.5 hours a car left Mombasa. So in ukitaka kujua what you are trying to say ni kwamba unaona the two bodies, both the car and the bus, zinatoka Mombasa zikielekea Nairobi. Kumbuka in the previous episode tulikuwa tunafanya zile zenye moja inatoka Mombasa yaja Nairobi, nyingine inatoka Nairobi ya kwenda Mombasa. Sasa hivi unaona kwamba zote zinatoka Mombasa, specifically in this question. Zote zinatoka Mombasa zaenda Nairobi. Hapo sawa? Nice one. So that is what we mean by bodies moving toward the same direction. So all we need to do ni kuchora kitu kama hii, alafu tuseme call this Mombasa. Call this Nairobi. So acha Mombasa iwe hapa, alafu Nairobi ikuwe hapo. Now, there are two, kuna vitu mbili, kuna bus na kuna car. So let this be our bus moving towards Nairobi, and let this be our car. Again, both of them are moving towards Nairobi. Now the bus is moving at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. So the speed of the bus is 60 kilometers per hour. And the average speed of the car, a car left Mombasa and traveled along the same road at an average speed of 100 kilometers per hour. So this car speed is 100 kilometers per hour. Hapo sawa? Nice one. Manze, hii ni rahisi sana. In fact, this is one of the simplest questions. Ukiulizwa kitu kama hii, all you do, tutaanza kwanza hivi. Unaambiwa bus ilitoka Mombasa inaenda Nairobi at an average speed of 60 kilometers per hour. Alafu unaambiwa baada ya saa 2:30, yani after 2.5 hours, ndio sasa hii car ikatoka, ikaanza pia kutoka Mombasa ikienda Nairobi. So hizi ndo vitu rahisi unafaa kujua. So I'm going to write a few things zenye lazima ujue ndo upate. So 1, we have to get the distance. The distance traveled by the bus. The distance traveled by the bus when the car took off. Nasema nini manze? Nasema tunafaa, si bus ndo ilitoka mapema. Na ilitoka Mombasa, yes. Then tunaambiwa after 2.5 hours car ikatoka. So tunataka kujua bus ilikuwa imefika wapi by the time hii gari ndogo car ilianza kutembea. Hapo saa? So the distance traveled by the bus when the car took off. We know that distance is equals to speed times time. So the distance traveled by the bus will be the speed of the bus, which is 60 kilometers per hour. 60 kilometers per hour multiplied. Kumbuka, per hour is the same as saying per is the same as divide. So 60 kilometers per hour multiplied by the time. Time yenye ilikuwa imepita ni 2.5 hours. 2.5 hours is just 5/2 hours. So when we multiply these, what do we get? We get hour na hour in a cancel. 60 here, 2 here, 1, 2 here, 30. 2 into 60 is 30. 30 times 5 is 150 kilometers. Kwa hivyo, the bus had already traveled 150 kilometers wakati the car took off. Wakati sasa car iliamua inatoka Mombasa. Because the car started its journey after 2.5 hours. Nakumbuka, in these 2.5 hours, the bus is already traveling from Mombasa towards Nairobi. So, we get the distance traveled by the bus when the car took off by saying distance is equals to speed times time. So we take the speed of the bus multiplied by the time that has elapsed. Ile masaa yenye imepita, of which ni 2.5 hours. So tukapata bus ilikuwa ishatembea 150 kilometers from Mombasa, which is the same as saying 350 kilometers from Nairobi. Kumbuka, from Mombasa is 150 kilometers na from Nairobi is 350, because the distance between Nairobi, tumeambiwa the distance between Nairobi and Mombasa is 500 kilometers. It is 500 kilometers. So kama basi isha cover 150, imebakisha ngapi? From Nairobi imebakisha 350. So from Nairobi it is 500 kilometers minus 150 kilometers, which is 350 kilometers. But it is 150 kilometers from Mombasa. Hapo sawa? Nice one. Nice one. Aya, the next thing yenye unafaa kujua kwa hii hesabu ni the next step. Kumbuka, step 1 ni kujua hiyo yenye iko mbele imefika wapi. Ni kujua the body ama ile vessel yenye iko mbele, ile gari ama nini yenye iko mbele imefika wapi wakati ile yenye inakuja nyuma inaanza safari. Step 2 yenye unafaa kujua ni let's calculate a relative speed. Now there's something called relative speed. Relative speed is, tunataka kujua what is the relation between the speed of the bus and the speed of the car. So we have to calculate relative speed. When they are moving in the same direction, you subtract their speeds to get a relative speed. Kama hizi zinatoka zote Mombasa zaenda Nairobi. So their relative speed will be speed ya hii kubwa, speed ya juu minus speed ya ndogo. So you just subtract their speed. So it will be 100 kilometers per hour minus 60 kilometers per hour. Therefore, the average speed will be 40 kilometers per hour. Manze, rahisi sana. Hiyo ndo step 2. Step 3, whatever we'll be looking for in step 3 will be the distance. We will be looking, not distance, we'll be looking at time. Time the car will take to catch up with the bus. Tutakuwa tunaangalia hii yenye iko nyuma itatake wakati gani ndo ifikie bus. Catch up ni kufikia. Na ni kwa nini itafikia? Remember, the car is moving at 100 kilometers per hour. So clearly the car it is moving faster than the bus. Kwa hivyo lazima itaifikia. So tunataka kujua hii car ambayo iko nyuma imeanza safari 2.5 hours later. Tunataka kujua itachukua muda gani kufikia nini? Kufikia hiyo bus. Na nimesema lazima ifikie kwa sababu speed ya car ni mingi kuliko speed ya bus. So time again is equals to distance over speed. We are looking for the time the car will take to catch up with the bus. So what will we do? Tutachukua the distance, this time. To get this time, we will take the distance traveled by the bus. Tutachukua the distance traveled by the bus when the car took off, okay, divided by the relative speed. So divided by the relative speed. That is what will give us the time the car will take to catch up with the bus. So the distance traveled by the bus when the car took off, tumepata ni 150 kilometers. 150 kilometers divided by the relative speed, tumepata ni 40 kilometers. 40 kilometers. So as you can see, 15, this is 150 divided by 40, which is 15 over 4. Usiache answer yako hivyo, leave it in improper fraction. It will be 3 and 3/4 hours, which is the same as 3 hours 45 minutes. Therefore, hii kaa ambayo iko nyuma itahitaji kuchukua 3 hours and 45 minutes ndio ifikie nini? Ifikie hiyo bus yenye iko mbele. So itaifikia after 3 hours 45 minutes. I hope unaelewa. Lastly, we only need 4 things to know here. Lastly, tutapata jibu yetu. The distance the car traveled. Distance the car traveled to catch up with the bus. So the distance the car traveled to catch up with the bus will be distance. We know that distance is equals to speed times time. So we will now use, sahi hatutatumia relative speed, we will use the distance, the speed of the car. The speed of the car is 100 kilometers per hour. Then multiplied by time, because distance is equals to speed times time. So multiplied by the time the car will take to catch up with the bus, of which tumepata ni 3 hours 3 over 4, 3 and 3 over 4 hours, 3 and 3/4 hours, which is just 15 over 4. Okay, na tukifanya hivi 15 over 4 hours. When you multiply these, you will get that hour and hour cancel. 4 here 1, 4 goes into 125 times. 25 times 15 will give us 375 kilometers. And just like that, mtu wangu, we have already solved that question. So now, the distance of the bus from Nairobi when the car took off to tushapata ni 150 kilometers. The distance from Mombasa is 150 kilometers. The distance from Nairobi is 350 kilometers. Alafu, the distance the car traveled to catch up with the bus, ndio hii tushapata hapa, 375 kilometers. So, anytime unapewa hesabu yenye the bodies are moving toward the same direction, please ask yourself these 4 questions. 1. Distance traveled by the bus, ile kitu yenye iko mbele itakuwa imefika wapi wakati ile iko nyuma inaanza safari, namna hiyo. 2. Get relative speed. 3. Using the above 2, get the time that it will take hiyo yenye iko nyuma kuifikia. Unatumia tu hizi zenye ziko hapa. So you will use distance and the relative speed. Utapata the time that hiyo vehicle yenye iko nyuma itatake kufikia yenye iko mbele. Alafu 4, distance traveled by the car to catch up with the bus. Sasa ile distance yenye itatraveliwa na hiyo yenye iko nyuma kufikia yenye iko mbele, sasa utatumia speed yake na hii time yenye itatake. Very simple. Anytime utakuwa unamaliza hizo hesabu na utakuwa unafurahia hapo. Sawa? Nice one. Bye bye manze, hope umeelewa manze. In ukiona any question manze, make sure you reach out my friend, uliza usaidike, hesabu ni rahisi, and education is still the key to success. Bye.